I feel like I must own at least 100,000 Jasmy, and the reason being is because I could hypothetically see Jasmy go into the price of $1 during this bull run. And even though that's not financial advice, if let's say Jasmy were to go to the price of again $1, at that point, of course, 100,000 Jasmy would be worth $100,000. Now, I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not telling anyone to buy Jasmy or anything like that. But the way you take a look at it is that when it comes to Jasmy, this could be something special. And going to the price of $1 really doesn't even seem all that crazy, because if it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, at that point, market cap would be around $50 billion, which isn't too bad, really, because if you think about it, we've seen Dogecoin in the past reach over $80 billion in market cap. We've seen Shiba Inu reach around $40 billion, and this was back in 2021, so it's like years ago at this point. I don't think this is too much to ask for. And keep in mind, $1 is around a 45x from here. So let's say even if like we didn't put an amount to acquire like 100,000 Jasmy, let's say, right? Let's say theoretically in a make-believe scenario, I put $1,000 into Jasmy. At that point, if let's say I did that and Jasmy were to go to the price of $1, that $1,000 would hypothetically be worth 45 grand, around that. So just imagine that. Now, again, it's not going to make anyone a millionaire or anything like that, but still, the way I view it is that when it comes to Jasmy, the room for growth still feels there, even though it's not like a small project by any means. And keep in mind, Jasmy is clearly focused on the right market. It's focused on decentralizing data storage. And data storage is a market that has a lot of potential, in my opinion, at least theoretically. The market size is predicted to be worth nearly $800 billion by 2030, according to Fortune Business Insights. So that's massive right there. Not to mention, why is decentralization needed when it comes to data storage? Because if you think about it, a lot of data storage nowadays is highly centralized, and it's only logical to assume that the more decentralized something is, the less susceptible it is to potential hacks and attacks. The reason being is because, let's say, I use an analogy, right? Let's say I'm trying to hide my treasure, and I hide my treasure in 100 different locations. Would it be harder to get all of that treasure if I, again, hid it in 100 different places, or if I just hid it in one place? I think it's a lot harder if it's 100 different, because if, let's say, this one location gets breached, then it's done, right? But then if it's like 100, even if 10, there's still a lot left. So the way I view it is that it's kind of no different when it comes to the principle of it, at least, because if you take a look at it, typically centralized data storage is controlled by a single entity. Usually there's these multiple single points of failures. And again, some people may not want that. On top of that, people just may not want some entities to gain access to their data for whatever reason. So the way you take a look at it is that decentralization does bring a lot of benefits. Now, it's going to take time, though. It's not going to happen tomorrow or anything like that when it comes to mass scale adoption for that. But then it doesn't really matter, because the narrative is strong, in my opinion, and people usually care about the narrative, at least currently. Now, let's not forget, Jasmy is legally compliant as a cryptocurrency in the country of Japan, which I think is a big thumbs up, because Japan is a very wonderful country. I've been to Japan many times, and again, being legally compliant in Japan as a cryptocurrency is a big, flex, I would say, right? It's a big flex, really, because when you think about it, imagine the projects that wanted to do that, and then Jasmy became the first one. That's how impressive they are, and so much so, right? To the point that Jasmy is even considered the Bitcoin of Japan. Not necessarily meaning that it's like a Bitcoin or anything like that, but then it's just the nickname, because it did become, again, the first legally compliant cryptocurrency in Japan, so then they called it that. So it's a good nickname, I would say. So the way I view it is that when it comes to something like Jasmy, it's very wonderful, and the team is being run by the right people. There's many people there who used to work at places like Sony and KPMG, which is one of the big four accounting firms. So the way you take a look at Jasmy is that it's a very impressive project. I must hypothetically at least own 100,000 Jasmy. It's focused on the right market, good community, good exchange listings. And as of right now, all I gotta really do is just stay patient, because usually altcoins is a worst case scenario. They typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. And the last Bitcoin halving event happened back in April of last year. So 18 months from then is actually on October this year, which is why I'm still staying very patient, going to continue to acquire more. And it's not like it's a guarantee that things are going to peak as a worst case around October. But I think if anything, it's a good benchmark. And I think near the end of 2025, it could be so special, which is why I'm still, again, staying patient. And Jasmy at the price of $1 wouldn't surprise me whatsoever during this bull run. And that's why I must hypothetically at least own 100,000 Jasmy in my portfolio. I don't only just own Jasmy, but then I believe that it has to be one of my foundational pieces, because I think it's that special. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's Willie the Captain. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace. Bye.